Oh man, I think I went the wrong way. Gotta make a U-turn.
Hello and welcome. Cheers to each and every one of you playing this episode. Don't forget to stay in the know, to look out for our social media posts on Facebook and Instagram. The links are in the episode notes. What's going on, everybody? I am so glad to be here today and to give you guys another episode. So, as you guys know, we are in season 3 of rerouting, and I am coming to you today with another episode. Woot woot. I'm really, which I say this all the time, I am really thrilled about this topic because it not only speaks to where I'm at currently, but I'm praying and hoping that it also speaks to you where you're at. So, excuse me, I'm super excited about that. So let's get into it. So, as you can see, the title of this episode is called Collateral Beauty. For some reason, I thought I had already did a podcast episode of this, but I think it was an episode that I thought about before, but I ended up not doing it. So, ta-da! Here it is. I'm super excited about this episode because the Collateral Beauty reminds me that there is beauty in new beginnings. And I say that because I myself am in a place where I am dealing with new, like new everything. There's so many different things that are new in my life. And it is really hard for me to really grasp those things. And what do I mean by Collateral Beauty? So, for one, there's this movie. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Collateral Beauty movie, but I'll put the trailer down in the episode notes. But there's a movie that stars Will Smith in it. It came out in 2016. It's called Collateral Beauty. I love this movie. I can't watch it like too often because it makes me cry, you guys. Like, it really makes me cry. Because it basically tells you that you have to lose something in order to gain something, and you have to see the collateral beauty in something that you may have lost, or in something that you're still trying to find and you're trying to get answers for. But it was a really good movie. Will Smith was one of the main. He was basically the main character. Talked about how he lost his daughter, and he ended up like just like losing himself, not caring about anything in the world because he wanted answers as to why he lost his daughter. And I think for me, I'm getting like really sensitive as I'm talking about it, but I think for me, that movie just it triggered me because I still deal with the issue of losing my dad. And even though he died in 2012, we're in 2023 and I still struggle every day on trying to figure out, what was the collateral beauty or where's the beauty in that. Especially now that I have a child, because I think about the people that are here, the people that I have, the family that I have left. And I'm just like, I don't have any grandparents on either side, my mom or my dad's side. All my grandparents, great grandparents are dead and gone. And so that means, my son doesn't have any grandparents, not grandparents, but great grandparents. He has two grandmas and a great granddad on his dad's side. But when it comes to my side, he just has my mom, and that's a story for another day. But it's really hard sometimes to see the beauty in something that seems so dark. And this movie basically is a reminder that no matter how dark or how difficult the time is, there is something beautiful that is happening right there. Like, there is something in front of you that you can be grateful for. There is something in front of you that, even though, you may have lost something, you still gain something. And I can honestly say with losing my dad, I gained my guidance and a closer relationship with God. Because when it came to needing something and being able to get something, I always call my dad. Like, no question, no asking. Like, I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling my dad. And my dad was the type of person, he'd get it done. You know, you don't know when he gonna do it, but you know that if he says yes or if he says okay, he's gonna make it happen. And it may not be right in that moment. It may take a while, but by the time that you need it, you will have it. And that's just kind of stand up guy he was. So when I lost him, I really lost. And I talk about this a lot, but I lost 3 years of my life because I was still stuck on 2012. 3 years had passed and I really didn't know how to find myself. I really didn't know how to go. I didn't know where to start. I couldn't understand it. I was trying to make it make sense. It wasn't making sense. Like, there was just so much that I lost. And in that loss, I didn't see the beauty. I didn't see how that could really be good. You never think about losing somebody and you think about how there's beauty in that. But now as I'm older and I'm wiser, I look at that situation with my dad and I do see collateral beauty. Even though it still hurts because I feel like, I still need my dad here. My sister still needs her dad here. My son needs his grandfather here. And then even too, I think with my dad, it's a all around sensitive topic because even with my dad's dad, my granddad, he stopped doing his chemo after my dad died, and he had other kids here. So it's just like after my dad died, but my dad was his only son. And, he decided that he wasn't going to try to fight off his cancer anymore. He started doing chemo and it just got really bad. And then a month later, he died. So that was just hard because, when I saw that movie, Collateral Beauty, I was just like, wow, like, that's crazy. But it's so real. Like, we can really be so stuck in a time trying to make things make sense that we miss out on the things that God has for us right there. And I know that it's hard to see beauty in new beginnings. And like I said, even aside from losing my dad, I'm currently facing a lot of new things in my life. God is doing a new thing. And it is hard for me to accept those new things because I'm so grasping onto the old. And we have to remember what God's word says. I say Isaiah, excuse me, you guys, I got these braces in my mouth. So please bear with me. But Isaiah 43:18-19, English Standard Version says, "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? It will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." I want to read that again because to me that word behold has so much power. Oh my God. Behold. And I think it's baffling how the word says, do you not perceive it? Do you not receive this? Do you not accept this? Do you not see what I'm doing? And sometimes in the darkness, in the chaos, we don't see what's going on because we're so blinded by what's going on in front of us that we miss what God is doing. And sometimes if you're looking at something hindsight 2020, you're not going to see how God is in the middle of it. And I think in that part, faith plays a big part in that as well. And we have to remember that God's word says, be still and know. Psalms 46:10. Be still and know. So I think that it's definitely hard to see beauty in new things, but I do believe that there is beauty in new things. And we have to remember that when God is calling us to something new, we have to be able to step out of our comfort zone and get in the uncomfortable because that's where God is. And it's hard for me in this moment to really accept that because everything in my life God is doing new. And it's really hard. Like, have you ever been in a place where you've prayed for something and you've asked God and you said, God, I want you to do this. I want you to do this. And then you get to a place where after so long you've prayed for it and it never really came to pass the way that you thought it was going to come to pass. And then finally that time comes and you're questioning, what is this, I can't, can I really trust this? Can I really get into what it is that God is trying to do in my life? Can I really grasp where it is that God is taking me? And I think for me, that has been my hardest thing, because the past has really had its hold on me. Just with a lot of things. For instance, um, I when I tell you God has been doing a lot of new things in my life that are very uncomfortable, I'm just gonna say that. Um, they are very uncomfortable, but I know that God is in the midst of me being uncomfortable. Um, and I can really appreciate that. But what I don't appreciate is having to go through that phase of uncomfortable, right? Like, we all want to get to a place where it's like, okay, I can do this with my eyes closed, or I'm comfortable here. My feet. Have you ever gone to the beach and you stand? You know how you stand in those spots where the water comes and you're on the sand, and after so long that the water has come over your feet in the sand that you start to sink, and your feet starts to plant and make a mold in the sand. So now you're like, okay, I'm in here, my feet is all cozy in the sand, the water is passing me by, I'm comfortable. And I think about, for me, it's uncomfortable walking to the water, because once you get on the sand, you have to get on you stepping on sticks and don't have no shoes on. Oh God, I cannot get in the water or get on the sand at the beach without shoes on, because I don't want nothing pricking me on my foot. But you get to the water, you get to the sand, and you're wearing your shoes or whatever, and then you get to a certain spot where you're like, okay, I'm going to take my shoes off. But then you get in the water, and you know how that up at the top of the shore where you have all those seashells. So you have to get into a place where you pass those seashells. Look, God can use anything, okay? You get to a point where you walk into that beach and you're stepping on all those little pieces of the seashells that has swammed up on shore. Your foot is all like crunching on them, and you finally get to smooth sand. You feel the water, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm comfortable now. And I don't know about you, I hate stepping on all those still. Like, I hate stepping on all those seashells. Like, it grinds my gears, and I'm like, that's sometimes I'm just like, I'm not even gonna get in the water. Like, now I don't really get far in the water because I have Noah, so we sit at like the bay or whatever, where it's real simple up there, where I can watch him and he ain't floating away. Um, but I just use that as an analogy because um it just gets to a point where you just have to ask yourself, you know, like, what am I avoiding because I'm uncomfortable? What am I avoiding? And I think that is a good question. That's a question I want to ask you. What are you avoiding, or what are you not being able to see the beauty in right now because you're so uncomfortable? And I can tell you, for me, it's a lot of things. I'm uncomfortable in a lot of my relationships right now because God is definitely doing a lot of things, and it's hard. Um, in one relationship, it's hard to let go of the past and embrace the new direction that God has taken us in. In another relationship, it's hard to just be able to trust that people are going to show up. God's doing a new thing in my job. I've started a new position, and it's challenging, but that's any job, you know. You never go into a job 100% knowing what to do. So I'm in the uncomfortable stage of my job. I'm starting school in May again, which, you guys know, I started school last year, but this, before I could get in class, this step up until now was very uncomfortable because I had to write an essay in regards to some grades that I had from 2012 and 2013, because I failed those 2 semesters with all F's and I think like 1 C. Congratulations to me. But it was hard because writing that letter, or writing that essay of unforeseen circumstances, was really hard for me. Going back to that time of my life where I was the brokenest person, I'm no longer that person. Like, having to go back to that place where I was so broken, it hurt me. I cried. I had to stop. It took me a while to write it. I had to stop. And then I had to proofread it. So I cried again. And I had to go back and talk about my dad dying. I had to go back and talking about me being in a place where I didn't really know where I was going to sleep at. I had to go back talking to a place where I was lost, where I didn't recognize me, where I didn't trust God, where I didn't trust myself, where I didn't trust people around me, where I was skeptical. Like, that was very uncomfortable for me. And I remember even getting upset, and I said, God, why do I have to do this? Like, I have to do all of this to go back to school in 2023? I have to literally talk about something that happened 10 years ago? Come on. Like, it has to be a better way. Like, I can't do this. I can't. And now I realize that, that was just an uncomfortable season or place at that time where I had to get and go through to be able to go back to school, to get comfortable back in, going to school. And that was really hard for me. And so I was just like, it was a struggle because I couldn't make sense of it. And I'm just like, what is this? Like, why am I having to do this? Talk about something that happened 2 years ago. Like, that is ludicrous to me. But furthermore, I think that we have to be able to see, to behold. Beholding means to see or observe a thing, a person. To see or observe a thing or a person. So we have to be able to behold, to see. And remember that God word says, do you not perceive it? Like, do you want to be in a place where God is calling you to new and you can't accept the new because you're so busy focusing on the old, because you're holding on to something that God has called you to let go. You're holding on to your comfortability. You're holding on to what's familiar. You're holding on to what's safe. And I have an episode called Comfortable and Safe. I do recommend you guys go find it and listen to it. I remember I recorded that episode a couple years ago because I was in this very place that I'm in today and being comfortable and safe. And I remember even starting this new position, I told myself that, I should just stay where I was. I'm at a later schedule. I'm doing a different job. I'm not really getting the training that I need. I'm struggling. I can't do this. And then on top of that, let's not even talk about the time change, okay? Like, I'm struggling to get this new hour. Like, this hour is putting me an hour and 30, like 2 hours behind. Like, I have a new schedule, a later schedule. So then I have to figure out a easier way to accommodate my son's schedule, a easier way to accommodate my sleep schedule. He gets up at the crack of dawn, So it's just like, it's hard, it's very uncomfortable right now, but I have to remember that there is beauty in new beginnings. There is beauty in new. God is taking us in a new direction. Do you not perceive it? Do you not perceive it? And then you have to remember what God says. Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Don't hold on to the past. Don't hold on to what's comfortable. Don't hold on to what's familiar. Don't hold on to what's safe. Don't hold on to those memories of things that are no longer. But cleave on to the new. Because that's what God is. God's not in the past. He's not there. He's where you're at right now. He's in the present. He's in your future. He's going with you. He's not sitting here. Now, I remember it makes me think about Saul. I think it was Saul. Lord, forgive me if it's not. I think it's Saul. When he wanted to appoint somebody else for king. And God said, no, I have somebody else. This is not who I have to be king. It's David. He said, go get your oil, get your lamp, and go down to Jesse's house. And Saul, and then he also says in the word, he says, how long are you going to sit there and ponder on what I said? God ain't in the past, okay? So some of y'all like, girl, God is in the past. Yeah, okay. Read your word. He asked Saul, how long are you going to sit here? I think it was Saul. Was it Saul? No, it was Saul. Okay. Anyways, if it ain't Saul, y'all forgive me. But he asked him, how long are you going to sit here in this? Because I'm moving on. I know that's who you wanted to be appointed, but I'm not appointing him. I need you to go down to Jesse's house and get one of them boys. And then even when he got to Jesse's house, it wasn't the son that Saul thought it was going to be. It was David tending to the sheep. But God asked him, how long are you going to sit here on this? I said what I said. Get your lamp, get your oil, and take your butt to Jesse's house. So you have to remember that God is waiting for you to perceive the new thing that He's doing in your life. How long are you going to sit and hold on to the past? How long are you going to sit and be disappointed in your past and block your blessings in your present and in your future? How long are you going to self-sabotage? How long are you going to put your feet in front of the other and trip? How long are you going to stand stagnant in comfortability when you can step out of comfort and get into the uncomfortable, because that's where God is there. He's going to meet you there. He's there waiting for you. How long is it going to take for you to be able to see that there is beauty in new things? And I know it's hard. I'm telling you, I'm struggling with it myself. It's hard, but I have to keep reminding myself that even though it's hard, I can do this because God created me. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't have a spirit of fear. I don't have a spirit of anxiety. I'm not afraid to walk with God. I'm not afraid to give God my plans because He formed us. He knows the plans that He has for us to prosper us and not harm us. He formed us in our mother's womb. He knew our journey. We wake up living life thinking, oh, this was not supposed to happen. And the whole time it was supposed to happen because our God is already 10 steps ahead of us. We see the hill, He see over the hill. We see the corner, He see around the corner. We see the minute, He sees the hour. Remember, there is beauty in new things. There's beauty in new things. And I know that it's hard to hear that. And I know that it's hard to perceive that over the new that is in your life. But I want you to perceive it. Let me tell y'all. And some of you guys may be thinking, oh, I'm not struggling with new. But it could be a new car. Like I told you guys in the last episode, Make Up Your Mind, that I had a dream about me going to get a new car. And when I got the new car, I ended up returning it. And I knew that God was dealing with me in that moment about new because I didn't know what I wanted. And so when God blessed me with the very thing I prayed for, I couldn't perceive it because I was so stuck on the past. I literally took the new car back to the dealership and got in my old car. Even though it was junky, they had to throw stuff from other cars that they had, so I had to clean it out. But because I was comfortable in that car, I would rather choose to drive off in comfort than to drive off in the uncomfortable. Can you imagine how stupid that sounds? That I would pray for something new, and when God gives it to me, I can't perceive it. But I'm sitting here, oh, I want something new. God, please do a new thing. Behold, you doing something new. And when the new comes, I run away from it. I had to ask myself, like, girl, how crazy are you? Like, how silly are you? Do you hear yourself? And it was hard for me to perceive that. It was hard for me to realize that I don't know. As sometimes I don't know what I want. And I want the new, but I don't want the process that comes with getting to the new. So I want a new job, a new car, a new house, a new location, a new spouse, a new this, a new that. But I don't want to have to go through the process of getting the new. God, just bring it to me. Let me get in it and be comfortable. But yeah, so just remember that there's beauty in the new things, and I'm gonna leave you with this. So, like I said, you guys may be thinking like, oh, I'm not really struggling with anything, but it can be anything that's outside of your normal. Like for instance, I got some new appliances delivered to my house, or to my apartment rather. I got some new appliances delivered. I got a new dishwasher, a new refrigerator, and a new stove. So, I was really excited. I'm like, okay, about time, which my old appliances, they weren't terrible. Like my refrigerator was still stainless steel. My stove wasn't stainless steel, but it was one of those, newer ones. Not too bad. My dishwasher, nah, I never used it because I was like, I don't know what it's been. Look like it's been through hell and back. Okay, so no, take it. So yesterday, they ended up giving me all three of those new items. So let me tell y'all how bad I'm struggling with beholding the new. Let me tell y'all how hard I'm struggling with seeing the beauty in new. They put it in. I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. It's so this and that. And so then immediately I go to the refrigerator because I had to end up bagging my stuff up for them to be able to, just swiftly move the bags out and switch the refrigerator out. So They were like literally in and out, in and out. So I was like, oh, let me go ahead and take my stuff out of the bags and put it, neatly in the refrigerator and in the freezer. So I'm like, okay, let me start with the freezer. The stove, I didn't have to do anything. The dishwasher, I was just like, well, I don't use my dishwasher, but because this is brand new and I know that I'm going to be the first one using it, I will use it up until I leave here. Okay. So I go to the refrigerator and immediately I'm pulling the bags and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, um, this is so different from my other refrigerator. I don't like this refrigerator because now I don't really have as much room in the freezer and da 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 blah blah blah. And so I'm literally just going on and on. So I'm taking the stuff out, and then I'm like, oh, this freezer, I don't know, I don't like it, and why the ice ain't been melted yet? Why it's taking so long for the ice? Do the ice machine work? Like I'm literally just going on and on. So then I, finally put the stuff in the freezer. Then I move over to the refrigerator, and I was like, I don't like this. Like why this top shelf so high up? I'm used to putting all my stuff on the top shelf. The middle shelf, it's got a lot of room, but if I move this down, the bin is in the way. I'm not gonna be able to put nothing on there. And then you got these small doors. Like I'm literally going through like all the things because I'm so used to the old refrigerator. And so I had to stop and I said, you know what, Lord, I thank you for my new appliances. Yes, it's different. Yes, I have to get comfortable with figuring out a different way to put my things in the refrigerator because this has different compartments. It's different. It's bigger. It's actually bigger than my other one, but because I was so used to that when I didn't see the bigger, all I seen was new, and this is uncomfortable because now I have to get a different way to put my groceries in the refrigerator and in the freezer from what I been had because it's uncomfortable to have to sit here and think about all the other things that I have to do. I don't have time to sit here and make another process for the refrigerator. Like, what the heck? This is crazy. So I literally just take a minute. I say, you know what? I'm not going to do this. So I put everything in there. And then this morning I woke up. I said, you know what? I actually like this refrigerator. I done got in the groove. I done put everything where it goes. It makes sense now. And I'm in love. Like, it literally takes you changing your perspective. It takes a perspective. If I can get the word out. It literally takes a different perspective to be able to embrace your new. And I know that that's probably something simple. Some of y'all probably like, oh girl, that ain't nothing. That's fine. But that's how simple embracing the new can be. It's how simple and hard new things can be. Like, and I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't know what you're battling that's new. Like I said, with my new job position, it's a later schedule and it's a different process. And I'm literally like, oh, I should just stay where I was. I like my earlier schedule. I like being off on Fridays and Saturdays. I used to want to be off Monday and Friday, but now I done got so used to being off Friday and Saturday and just taking my Sundays off every now and then, going to church. I'm just so used to that. I would rather revert back to that. That's easier than trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to do this, and this doing Monday through Friday when I have to work? And then on my son's birthday, I said, you know what? I have 2 hours before it's time for me to get up for work and log in. So let's get up. Let's go get some breakfast. Let's come home. You're going to take a nap. Like, and then it was in that moment I embraced having a schedule because I'm like, you know what? I can get stuff done before I even clock in. I just have to be disciplined. And ooh, that's something that we struggle with. Sometimes it ain't that we don't want the new. We don't want to be disciplined enough to embrace the new. We don't want to have discipline enough in our time, in our schedule, in our finances, in our relationship. We don't want to be disciplined. And that word alone is going to stop us from being able to embrace the beauty that's in the new. That's it. That's the message. Be disciplined to accept the new and to see the beauty in it. So, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, I'm going to put the trailer down in the episode notes. If you have not seen that movie, Collateral Beauty, I highly suggest you watch it. You may be a little confused, so I do recommend watching it maybe once or twice and actually like paying attention to it, because if you blink, you're going to miss it, okay? But I love you, and I will talk to you guys on the next episode. Bye! Thank you for listening. I hope you stay tuned for more episodes. Remember, being grateful makes you gorgeous.